Ever wondered what would happen if the wild robot was actually wild? Or if Over the Hedge was a horror movie where the animals hunted humans? Or if Dogman was a cold-blooded serial killer with no mercy for cats? Well, I'm turning these animations into terrifying horror poster you'll never forget.
Yeah.
My idea, a wild robot, like seriously wild. First, I drop in a nice green field. Then I threw a blue sky into the background. I start with a couch, place it right in the middle of the scene. I erase the lower part, so it looks like the couch is sinking into the grass. Now, time to bring in our main character. He sits down on the couch. To match the scene, I lowered his saturation a bit. I added 3 trunk. Like this wild robot has 1 foot resting on it, I erased the lower part of the trunk so it blends into the grass. A few shadow touches on the trunk, especially where the robot's foot rests. Shadows make everything look more 3D. I do the same for the robot, adding shadows so it pops out of the flat scene. Now, to make him creepier, I slap on this sticker because, well, he's a wild robot. I bring in a bunch of other animals. But wait, why did they all look so weird? Sad? Maybe possessed? I put a rope around Mr. Fox's neck, like he's the robot's pet. Yeah! Of course, the rope has to be in the robot's hands. Oh, and tape over the fox's mouth, because he talks way too much. Probably Nick Wilde's longest twin.
Down, someone get the hose!
A few shadows on the couch to make it look cooler. And yeah, the robot's shadow needs to hit the couch too. I black out the animal's eyes, they're possessed after all. To bring them out of that flat look, I add some extra shading, make them pop, make them feel alive. I also paint in the ground shadows from the animals, the tree trunk, the robot. Makes the whole thing feel way more real. But something's still missing. Oh, a deer antler. Perfect with the antler on, and a few touches of red here and there. It feels scarier, more mysterious. I drop the saturation, darken the front of the scene, add a few more shadow touches, then the original logo goes in, and finally a label on top. Next up, Dogman. Has Dogman really turned into a serial killer who only hunts cats? Let's start by dropping in a green grassy field. Then an iron wall topped with a barbed wire. For the sky and background, I add a cityscape at night. And yeah, a moon too. I erased some parts of the wall so it looks like the grass is actually in front of it. Now the scary part begins. I bring in this body holding a knife. For the head, of course, I'm using Dogman. I cut his head, place it on the body, and flip it so it fits better. Then I erase the extra bits to make it look clean. Now I bring in Paddy. I rotate him and position him in Dogman's hand, like he's holding the poor cat by one leg. Paddy's been caught. I take Paddy's head and place it on the ground. Son? Oh no, Dogman decapitated his prey. I erase parts so it looks like the head is sinking into the grass. And I do the same for Dogman's shoe, makes it feel more natural and grounded. Using some red strokes, I draw the insides of the Paddy's body, and later I add texture to make it more realistic. I also erase a chunk of the leg, so it really looks like Dogman is gripping Paddy's leg with his hand. Time to fill out the scene. I put the dog food ball right in front of the Paddy's eyes, but what's inside it? Oh no, Paddy's little head? Dogman has put another victim's head in the bowl. I throw another football and can opener. Maybe Dogman's making Paddy in a can. I paint shadows on the ground and around different objects. Makes the whole thing look richer. Then I add splashes of red. So Dogman's brutal crime are clear. Why would Dogman do this? I added texture layer here to make it more realistic, and some shadows to put it out of the flat look to give it depth. The whole thing levels up in quality. Not bad. No, I lowered the saturation a bit. Lights out. Only the center of the scene stays lit. Like a spotlight is hitting the middle. The sky and parts of the background still glow, and I paint highlights where the light hits the metal wall. I even add Dogman's shadow, first the part of the ground, then the part cast on the wall behind him. Finally, I drop in a Dogman logo and a label. Over the hedge. RJ is now the leader of the Animal Revenge Squad. We start with a big green wall. RJ and Vern are perched on top, gear in hand, ready to hunt. I drop Dwayne into the scene, but I'm changing his face. I cover part of Snake with a raw meat texture, makes it feel way more real. Then I stab his mouth with a torn, wide open wound. Maybe he's turned into a zombie. And now the animals have to hunt zombified humans. I smear a few red marks across his face, like fresh injuries. Lower the saturation a bit so he looks pale and lifeless. I punch in a few black holes on his face, like some creatures crawled into his brain and take control. A few more red touches, a little swelling effect. Yeah, creepy. Now I finished the fishing line. RJ has literally hooked Dwayne with his fishing rod. But where's Gladys? I place her head inside the net. Where's got her?
Glad it's working for you.
RJ gets a famous, recognizable mask. For Vern, I borrow his cousin's mask.
Phase converter. The rabbit.
A few extra arms and legs pop into the scene. Some sticking out past the green wall. I erase parts so they look like they're coming through the wall. Then I scatter some leaves, like the leaves smacked into the greenery, sending foliage flying. With some shadow touches, the scene pops out of flat mode and feels more alive. Now for the scary part, a few red accents across the design. I darken the bottom for depth. Lower the saturation a bit more. And finally I drop an original logo, plus a label to wrap it all up. Thank you guys for watching, and you can watch me with the designs here.